Hello Matujima, and you're watching Hornbill TV. The Supreme Court has stepped in to put a temporary hold to the University Grant Commission, UGC's new Promotion of Equity in Higher Education Institutions Regulations 2026, setting the stage for a major legal and social showdown over campus equality. The matter will now be heard again on March 19. What was introduced as a move to strengthen anti-discrimination safeguards in colleges has instead sparked a nationwide controversy, sharply dividing students, teachers and social groups over whether these rules truly promote inclusion or risk deepening social fault lines on campuses. Several petitions have now reached the Supreme Court, filed by Advocate Vinit Jindal, Mrityunjay Tiwari and Rahul Devan, challenging the legality of the regulations and questioning whether they violate the constitutional guarantee of equality for law. First, let us know what are these new UGC regulations all about. The UGC has replaced its earlier 2012 anti-discrimination guidelines with a new and much more detailed framework called the Promotion of Equity in Higher Education Institutions Regulations 2026. According to the UGC, the goal is to move beyond just reacting to complaints and instead actively prevent discrimination, while also ensuring that students and staff who face bias or harassment get quick support. The regulation aims to prevent discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, gender, disability, place of birth and race. They also seek to create permanent systems inside every college and university to handle complaints, provide counseling and, if needed, connect students with legal help. So now let us know what changes will students and colleges see on campuses. If these rules are implemented, every higher education institutions, whether it is a central university, state university, private college or deemed university, will be required to create an entire equity infrastructure on campus. This includes an Equal Opportunity Center, which will act as the main body to support disadvantaged students. This center will provide academic guidance, financial counseling and help students access legal aid if required. Then there will be equity committees, which will examine complaints related to discrimination or harassment. These committees are required to meet within 24 hours of receiving a complaint and recommend action. Institutions must also run 24/7 helplines, allowing students to report problems at any time, even outside campus hours. In addition, colleges will appoint equity ambassadors and equity squads whose job will be to spread awareness about equality, monitor campus behavior and flag every early signs of discrimination or conflict. Colleges must also submit regular reports to the UGC explaining how many complaints were received, what actions was taken and what preventive steps were introduced. Now, what happens if a college does not follow these rules? The UGC has given itself strong enforcement powers under these regulations. If an institution fails to comply, the UGC can suspend or cancel its recognition, stop grants and government fundings, and even restrict the institution from offering certain academic programs or online courses. This means that the rules are not just advisory, they are legally binding and carry serious consequences. Now, why did the Supreme Court step in? The Supreme Court began hearing petitions that argued the regulations may violate Article 14 of the Constitution, which guarantees equality before the law. During the hearing, the Chief Justice of India stayed the implementation of the rules for now and asked Solicitor General Tushar Mehta to explore the possibility of forming a committee of eminent persons to review the regulations. The court observed that while social justice is important, policies must also ensure that society progresses together and that no group feels targeted or excluded. Advocate Vishnu Jain, arguing against the regulation, told the court that discrimination cannot be presumed to exist only against certain communities. He said that law must protect every citizen equally and not restrict protection to selected groups. What exactly is the main point of controversy? The biggest objection is over how the regulations define caste-based discrimination. According to the UGC's definition, caste-based discrimination refers only to discrimination against members of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and other backward classes. Critics argue that this wording excludes general category students entirely from the definition and suggests that discrimination can occur only in one direction. They also argue that if a general category student faces harassment or false accusations, the regulations do not provide equal protection mechanisms for them. Another point of concern is that the Equal Opportunity Centers are expected to coordinate not just with college authorities but also with police, district administration, legal services authorities, and civil society organizations. Critics say that this could lead to criminal cases being triggered too quickly for campus disputes that could otherwise be resolved internally. The equity committees are also mandated to include representatives from SC, ST, OBC communities, women, and persons with disabilities, which supporters say that ensures representation, but critics say may affect neutrality in complaint handling. What is the public mood right now? The issue has sparked intense debate on social media, with hashtags like #ShameOnUGC trending on X. Many students and teachers have posted concerns that the regulations may encourage false complaints, create fear on campuses, and increase social polarization instead of promoting unity. At the same time, several social justice groups and political leaders have supported the intent of the regulations, arguing that strong systems are needed to protect vulnerable students who often hesitate to speak out. So the country remains divided on whether these rules are necessary safeguards or an overreach that needs correction. So what happens next? For now, the regulations remain on hold due to the Supreme Court stay. The court will hear the matter again on March 19, after which it may decide whether to allow the rules to continue, to modify certain provisions, or to send them back to redrafting. Until then, colleges will continue to follow the older 2012 anti-discrimination guidelines. In simple words, the UGC tried to introduce stricter rules to prevent discrimination in colleges, but many people believe that the rules are unfair and legally flawed. The Supreme Court has paused the rules to examine whether they violate equality laws. A final decision will come after further court hearings.